Welcome to Unleash Leadership, the podcast where bold leaders and changemakers come together to share their stories, strategies, and insights for creating a lasting impact on society. Karla Blanco is your host. For over 28 years, she has been navigating the complexities of the corporate and government worlds, a journey that's taught her that authentic leadership isn't just about climbing the ladder. It's about lifting others as you rise. Along the way, she uncovered the unwritten rules that drive success, the ones no one tells you about, but that can define your career and legacy. On this podcast, she'll sit down with extraordinary guests from around the globe, leaders, visionaries, and innovators who are leaving their mark on the world. Together, they'll explore their journeys, uncover their tips and tricks, and dive into the challenges they've overcome to inspire you to excel in whatever you're facing. Whether you're climbing the corporate ranks, building your personal brand, or leading change in your community, this podcast is your space to grow, learn, and unleash the leader within. So grab a notebook, get ready to take action, and join us on this journey to unleash our leadership potential. Before we dive in, make sure to follow Karla on Instagram, LinkedIn, at Karla Blanco Coach, Karla with a K, and YouTube at Karla Blanco Show to stay connected and get even more leadership tips and updates.
Today, I'm excited to introduce Eva Storm, who is a leader who bridges the worlds of corporate strategy and human consciousness. After a decade running a successful publicity agency for major corporations, she transitioned into a 20-year career leading a global training institute. She's an expert in NLP, hypnotherapy, and communication. Eva has mentored over 2,000 clients across 15 countries. She is also the author of Guiding a Crystal Child. Today, Eva integrates brand intelligence with inner alignment, offering a unique blend of business strategy and profound human depth rooted in lived experience. Welcome, Eva. Eva, share with us about your fascinating journey.
Well, thank you, Karla, for having me first. I'm so happy to be here. My leadership journey, well, I think my leadership journey started at a very young age. I lived in Tanzania first until I was 6-7 years. And I feel that was a period where I was so conscious that I was like one with nature, and the environment, the peace, the kindness of these people, the joy was really so embedded into my life. Although I was very introverted, and it still stays with me that it's my biggest example of going outside the box. When we think outside the box, and you go to joy, you get quicker answers. Mm-hmm. So that was really like my example. So it was not really a person; it was the whole system, the environment, the way, the animals. I know I was in contact with my guide in that time. And I was told that problems in life were part of life, and that I had to learn from that, because I saw how my parents were struggling with each other, and because in Africa it's not always easy. You have to be very creative to find solution. The dentist is not around the corner. So where do you go? For example, if the car is broken, how do you solve that? I had, as a pet, I had a turtle, a big turtle, really a big turtle. And he was stolen for 3 times. And every time we found him back, we had to buy him back. on the market, but the third time we lost the turtle. So you had to find solutions in a way that it's not the same as I live in Belgium now. It's not the same here. Like I remember that I stood up and in the morning all the tires were stolen of the car. So how do you get new tires? You can't drive to get new tires. You have to go far, far, far away, or you can't phone. It was not that in the we didn't have the mobile phone in that time. So it was really like, how do we do this? So, and that was really my if I look at myself, I have more a world view, not a view that is from one place and in the and stayed in that culture. But I like to study multiple cultures. I like to study how people live, how the Buddhists lived, how the shamans lived, how the Indians lived, how Russian lives. It's not that I all know this, but I like to study that. I can learn a lot from all these cultures. So that's how my leadership unconsciously started. And then we moved to Belgium. And I was actually never sick in Africa, but I started to become sick in Belgium. And it's because I wasn't happy here. The school restriction, my parents had more problems. I couldn't speak Dutch because I spoke English and French as a child. So I had to learn all of this. And yeah, I remember the teachers talking to my parents that I wasn't able to hear well, but it was because I was in my own world. I was in my own world with my guide. So I became scared and I trained myself to sit still because I wasn't used to that. You don't sit still in a school. In Africa, you run around, you play, you dance, you sing in Swahili, you do all these things. So I thought there was something wrong with me.
Mhm.
Yes, and that shaped my low self-esteem as a young age. And my whole life, I have been searching for how does intuition work? How does that work? Because I was so intuitive, and I'm still intuitive, but I was really, really open in Tanzania, and I closed down because of stress in Belgium. And I had to learn, I was searching how to open myself back to the intuition. And I found that solution actually in hypnosis. When I do hypnosis, when I train hypnosis, when I put myself in hypnosis or in meditation, and it's different, but it's the same trance. Um, you get answers that you can never have by thinking about it. These answers come from a place of a void. It comes from a void, and it's always aligned with who you are, always. And that's why I use it in everything I do in life, if it's in corporate, in marketing, in branding, or it's in parenting, or it's a situation where I personally have doubts, because that's part of life. I can doubt a lot. And I think we as women doubt a lot because of the way the feminine, divine feminine energy has been cut off, and we had to hide that. But we as women, we have a quicker access to our intuition than men. That's standard. But if we step into the male energy world and we stay in the male energy world and we don't connect with our divine feminine energy, we lose. It's not that we lose it, but it goes to the background. If we are too much in stress, it goes to the background. And I thought I lost it, but actually it just went to the background because on the forefront, things were happening in life. And all my focus was to the pain or the system, or I had to listen, or I had to find a solution in my company, or there was a situation with a lot of stress, and you put all the focus on that. But actually, the only real solution is going inside and find that inner truth that is so you. And when you find that inner truth, everything around you comes into harmony.
Mhm. And share with us, because you had this journey, so you went to Belgium. You feel that you shut down in a way your intuition for a little, or it was just on hold for a while. Can you share what were those trigger points where you reignited that intuition, and how working, well, I guess when we go into working with corporations, for example, which are really results oriented, really male energy, women that, well, they rise in those corporations in the leadership ladder, they embrace that male energy to get those results that are expected, and to put
Mhm.
into that how they can bring that female energy. And can you share your experience on that?
Yes. Well, my experience is that the pressure of the male energy in corporate is so big that it's not that easy for a feminine leader to stay present and to stay aligned with what happens inside of you. Um, because the conscious level in not all corporate, but in the conscious level in a lot of corporate society is not that high. So it's a lot about ego mind, and a lot about I need to be if I step above your head, then I get my promotion and I get this job and I get. So it's dealing with that. You have to be strong. I didn't like that. I stepped out of that. I think I was 27 when I said, okay, this is it. I am done with spending with I had so many ideas or feelings that what my intuition was telling things were wrong. And I told the people around me in the marketing and with the corporate director. But you don't always have proof for your intuition. So they want to see the figures, they want to see the stats. So how do you prove that? How do you prove that if you do this way, you will lose $500,000 or euro or a million? If you do this, you will gain money. And um, and I started soon to work for myself. And I started a publicity agency because I was trained as a marketeer, but I loved publicity. I love how the way we create, how we bring information into motion so that people know what you do. How can we translate the the real gifts of a person so that other people can understand, oh, this is exactly what I need. Because most publicity is, okay, here I am, blah, 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 and they present themselves. But it's not always easy to then to discover what is this person actually, what is the differentiation with that person, what she's doing or what he is doing. What's your specialty? What's your secret sauce? So I went into translating that message with visuals, design work, and I start creating brands for high corporates in the pharmaceutical industry, but also for dog food, dog bones with toothpaste on it, um, we did the Japanese market, the Indian market, the European market. We did lice, shampoo, toothpaste, tea, all these kind of things. And it was, if the words and the design become one, and the vision and the mission of the founder, then you get you start to do, you create a resonance. And that's how I trained myself into do resonance marketing, not the traditional marketing, but marketing from resonance. So that when only you attract only the right people, but not from big words and noise and pushy, but from inner strength. It doesn't mean it has to be silent either, but it's this inner strength that you know what you stand for, you know what it is, you present it as 100% according to your values. And then you will naturally, it will happen naturally, that you attract the right people, and it will go easy, not by hustle. That's what I discovered in the marketing.
Yes,
So
and you spent 10 years in corporate and then you transition into this conscious marketing. How do you help people to identify and avoid that hustle and find their balance or, yes, their connection with intuition?
well, I remember, and I still do it. It's actually my biggest it's my biggest gift now. But when I felt that things were incongruent or out of alignment, I would always say that, and I would try to bring that person from the place of misalignment to a place of more alignment, and because I felt that intuitively. I felt all these things, and I remember there was one person, and she wanted to start a whole chain of shops for child clothing, and I said, and it's about big investment, and I said to her, "How did you come with that idea?" And she said, "I didn't. It's my." I felt it. She said, my father said this would be a good idea. And I said, well, do you really want to do this? And she was kept on saying, yes, 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 I want to do this. And I knew it would take 3 to 4 months and she would say, I quit. I knew it. So I was in this doubt. How am I going to say this? Because I can feel the unseen. So it was about how am I going to communicate this to her, that she has to find her own mission, not doing this for her father. And because of the love for her father, she wanted to do that. So this was it was about a lot of money. It was about big money. So I finally sat down with her, and I let her come several times. I didn't say it at once, but I guided her, and then she really thanked me. And actually, it was against my own business because I could earn a lot by just doing this. But this is not right. This is not right. So that's an
I
example.
That's a great example. And also, I know you have a book coming,
Yes.
and guiding a crystal child. You focus on empowering highly intuitive children. And I would like you to share what can modern leaders learn from these crystal children when it comes to fostering intuition and authenticity with their own teams.
Yes, well, first of all, I shifted my system, my branding and marketing system, to I work with people who are already conscious. They know what they have a mission that always create a better world. I can't do the marketing and the branding for someone who still wants to bring plastic on the market, or who wants to copy someone's ID or whatever that is not in integrity. So, and with these children, So the reason why I wrote this book, it was not really my idea because I when I write, my sentences are complete, like English, French, Dutch. It's all mixed. How I create my sentences. It used to be that way. It's better now, but I then thought I could write a book, and it was someone who said to me, "You are going to write a book," and I was like, "No, I'm not." uh, and then he said, "You should write everything down that you observe from your daughter, but you have to write it down as a journalist. Do not add things." And I really love that. And I start doing that. I didn't know where it was going. But I had to wait till my daughter was 18 plus years because I promised her. She didn't want it that I was bringing out this message when she was still in school. And that was for purpose of safety. It was unsafe if the teachers would know what would happen inside her system, inside her consciousness, inside her mind, because her consciousness is higher than most children in that period. She's like the forerunner of the children that are born right now. So you see that gap between the children that were in school and were friends and or became her friends and were bullying her. So that was a big gap. And it was also a big gap between the system, the school system, and it was also a big gap between the teacher and my child. So it was really searching, where do we go to help or to get her to school and to have her friends? Because learning all these things, I can do that at home. But I felt she needed to learn how to connect and how to. So the leadership is what we can learn from these children is they see through the system. They see through the ego mind. They see through the whole the old way we are working, playing, dealing with children, how we communicate. They see through that. And the way I can have an example, there was two children in school. They were bullying each other, and the teacher said took their both of these children with them, and they said, say sorry, okay, give a hand, okay, it's done. And she came home and she was like, this is not working. I saw their aura field and it was still brown in their aura field. So it wasn't okay. It's just mental. And I said, you're right. But how to explain this to the teacher? Because for the teacher, it's just, okay, let's fix this. And fixing is never the solution. It's by conscious feeling and by conscious observing and going inwards and check and connect and communicate in a way that you or ask questions that you can understand what's happening inside the mind of someone else. So and it has happened also in other ways. When something happened, even with herself, she would become sick. Like a teacher would say, "Oh, Karla, it's your time to clean the classroom. You don't have to do it. Let's ask David," for example. She came home and she had 39 degrees. I don't know what it in or 38 degrees and in Celsius, and that's really high. And I had to keep her home for 3 days so she can so she can feel into that and find her own balance again, because I didn't want to fix that. I can't fix it. She had to learn how to deal with all these things that happen in the world, because later she will have it in an adult way. So yes, that was the leadership is they see reality as it is. They don't have like these blind spots, or it's not covered with illusions. It's as it is.
Oh, that's fantastic. And leaders can benefit to have people that is so intuitive next to them, and develop that intuition in them. It's so important to do that for ourselves. I would like to talk about the language of influence. Given your expertise in Ericksonian hypnotherapy and
Yes.
HNLP, what are the most common communication blind spots you see even in the most seasoned CEOs struggle with?
Yes. Well, as if we talk about communication, most people forget to connect first. And they start speaking from what's in their mind, but they don't ask questions or they don't connect first on an emotional level. It doesn't need to be we are friends, but I see you and I'm here and I'm present and let's talk together and not I need this and I want this and let's fix this and let's do that. And making that connection and then ask the question first, what is happening with this? So you can start to hear what is happening in their world because everyone is always right. In their world, they are always right. But if we don't acknowledge the world that they are in, the people where we work with, if I don't recognize the world you are in, Karla, I can't make that connection. I can't know what the solution will be. I don't know how to have a better strategy. So I have to find out what's happening in your world, what were your intentions, because there is always a positive intention. And I have learned through time that it's not always, but most of the people always have a positive intention. And I can learn about that person and I can say, oh, you thought this and this and this. So you are a person that is more extroverted, or you wanted to check with your colleague, but actually you needed to make that decision on your own and blah, blah, blah. So you can learn from them and then you can guide them to where you want them to be for the result you want to have, not by manipulation, but by negotiating and asking if we could do it this way, would that help with you? Or what other system would be or strategy would be helpful, and guide that person. That's more an emotional leadership. It's coaching leadership. There are other ways to lead. Sometimes in the middle of chaos, you can't do that. You have to stand up and say, this is what we are going to do. First, we are going to do this. Secondly, this. Third, this. We are doing this now. And then it can be that someone says, yes, that's dominant, but in chaos, you have to do that. Or you have to
Yes.
bring the people together and say, okay, this is happening. I'm going to do this. Why am I going to do this? The why? Because of this. That's why. First we do this, then this. So you create this, you tell the reason why you do this. It's the same in schools. Teachers are teaching something, but they don't teach you why you have to learn this. So for me, if I don't know why, I'm not learning. My
Yes.
mind is shut. I'm like, do whatever you want, but I'm not listening. I go in hypnosis. I go in trance and I go in my own world.
I absolutely agree that definitely we really need to seek to connect first and understand the other, not communicate on my own words because the message may not land. And
Yes.
you've scaled a company with a full staff and later transitioned into a global training institute. Looking back, what is one hard truth about leadership you wish you'd known during your agency days?
Well, when you are a trainer, you have a lot of people that are happy and they are really advancing and transforming and learning. But sometimes you have someone in the group that takes the energy down. And leadership is that moment that you have these boundaries and that you can say, okay, this is the end, you go out. Yeah, or I'm not going to give you a certificate because this, and this. You haven't showed me that you were in this congruent, you weren't in integrity with what I taught. So I can't give you a certificate. So I had to do that, not a lot, but there were moments I had to do that. And it was not that easy because you always want that the whole group continues. Now, the other thing also I had to do was checking if someone was ready for the next level of training. If not, I had to say, okay, it's not going to happen. Let's have a discussion first, or let's do some private coaching first. So you are not in a place of trauma, but in a place of leading. Because, yeah, it's not because you want to become a coach or become a trainer that you don't have traumas. And it's the same in leadership, in corporate business. You can see an adult acting as an 8-year-old child. And it's
Yes.
because they step into their survival mechanism. And it's not to blame them, but it's how to guide this 8-year-old child, inner child, to be seen and heard and to act, to become that adult. So yeah, that's what trauma is actually. It's that inner child that is stuck in a survival mechanism, and it can be triggered by something small. It can be triggered by one word or one sentence or a look, a kind of look, like looking like this or doing like this, or it can all be triggers to get someone there, but it's not to it's the highest form of leadership for me is not judging.
Exactly.
Never ever judging, because the moment you start judging, you lower the frequency of the consciousness in the room, and you can't find a solution. You can find a solution when there is happiness, when there is joy, when there is peace, when there is harmony and balance. It's easy to find solution. When there is struggle and hustle and chaos and disharmony, you have to bring that balance first, and you have to bring yourself, you have to keep yourself in peace, in joy, in harmony, to be able to bring the group into that energy. You have to show it first, not say it. It's not let's bring this in balance. No, be balance,
Be.
be harmony, be aligned, not ask alignment, be it. So you cannot,
Outstanding.
yeah, you cannot ask someone to solve a solution if you yourself cannot do it and not be that solution. That's how
Yes.
in hypnosis, if I hear that the person comes, or in training or in marketing, whatever, if that person is not trusting themselves, I need to be in not in 100% trust, but in 200% trust, because I have to stay there and resonate that. And by resonating this and radiating that, by transmitting that energy, that other person will find their own solution. I don't even have to say it or ask for it. That's the highest level of leadership for me.
I agree. I agree. That level of consciousness is critical, especially in a world full of uncertainty
Mhm.
and so and changes that happen so fast. As much if we are tuned in, we can connect better with the people that surround us. But also, many people believe that being business minded and spiritually aligned are exclusive, mutually exclusive. How can a leader ensure their brain remains profitable without compromising their human depth and integrity?
Yeah, I believe there are a lot of people that don't define themselves as spiritual or actually doing something spiritual. So it's not by saying or telling that you are spiritual, because what is spiritual? It's a container word. It's by following your passion and following the mission that was given to you. And not everyone can say, I have a clear mission and I know what that mission is. This new generation knows that. They are in the age of 6 and they say, I will do this, I will become a pilot, and they will do that. And nothing can stop them. And not any hierarchy will keep them away from that. They will do it. So they know it, they know their mission. But a lot of people lost track of their mission along the way. And like life happened to them, and they lost it. And then they have to come back to their inner self and find what that mission is. So yeah, that's for me how it happens.
I love that. It's been a joy spending time with you. And to close, can you share with us what Unleash Leadership means for you?
Yes, unleash leadership. I had to feel that word before I answer that. Uh, it feels for me like knowing yourself first so deeply that you unleash all the the inner gifts that you have, and then you stand for it, you stand up for it, and then you choose a group that you want to stand up for. Like I stand up for people with spiritual gifts, with a mission that creates a better world. And I stand up for these people. And this is my target group. So if you know what your mission is and you know yourself so well and you unleash these gifts, and a lot of time people have hidden gifts.
Mhm.
Yes, but it's finding these hidden gifts, because these hidden gifts is your gold, is actually how what differentiates you from everyone else. And if you have found that hidden gift and you bring that to the table, and it will be scary to do that because it was hidden for a reason, you unleash that, you come into that leadership and you stand for it, and then you stand up for other people for the same things that you have been doing, the same problems you have been having in your life. And that's for me unleash leadership.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And cheers to many more conscious leaders creating a better world. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Carla.